Your choice of restaurant is beneath us, my mother declared, just after I covered the $8,600 tab for their anniversary meal. My father then chipped in, "Boost the price tag, then we'll consider it." My response, "Precisely so." Then I ensured her high standards remained untouched by revoking the booking the following day. Her demeanor shifted when, dramatic, slightly pained, yet resolute tone. Have you ever felt like you were born with an invisible price tag attached to your forehead? Like your entire life, you've been paying for a love that was supposed to be free? Because for years, I let my family treat me like a walking ATM. But then one evening, over a perfectly cooked scallop, something inside me finally snapped. My name is Seth, I'm 30, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the designated adult. The oldest kid, the planner, the one who knows everyone's sizes and allergies, and somehow still gets blamed when anything goes wrong. I'm the person they hand the check to. You know, because you're good with money, which is mom code for you'll pay, and you won't make it awkward. I do data work, nothing fancy. I rent a small apartment above a bakery, run at night with a headlamp, and meticulously keep my receipts in labeled envelopes, like a little museum of bad decisions. Then there's Nate, my 27-year-old brother. He's the golden child. Hilarious at parties, always posting gym selfies with those inspirational quotes, and somehow, always needs gas money by the 28th. My parents? They love him in that loud, unblinking way people love their own idea of themselves. Growing up, I watched them celebrate him for just trying, and critique me for actually finishing things. When I got a scholarship, my mom said, "Don't get cocky, Seth." When Nate dropped a class, Dad chimed in, "College is about finding yourself, son." When Dad dented my car backing out of the driveway, I was told I should have parked less in the way. But when Nate scraped his leased SUV, everyone signed a sympathy card. It wasn't overt violence, you see. It was 1,000 tiny cuts, slowly bleeding me dry. I learned to say it's fine. I learned to show up early, leave late, and just make nice. The only time I didn't was the year I refused to spot Nate, just until Friday. And Mom, in that low, soft tone meant to land gentle but sting deep later, said, "We raised you to be generous, Seth." I heard the unspoken second sentence. We raised you to be useful. This spring, they decided to throw themselves a 35th anniversary party. We deserve something elegant. Mom texted the group chat. Classy but not pretentious, Dad added. Translation? Lavish, but on my card. I told myself I'd handle it. Doing things right is, honestly, my only party trick. I made spreadsheets, called venues, compared costs and cork fees like I was negotiating a peace treaty. I scheduled a tasting at this quiet, beautiful place downtown. Warm wood, soft lighting, a chef who did magic with ordinary vegetables. I pictured a long table, gentle music, people actually hearing each other talk. The day of the tasting, I picked them up. Dad immediately changed the radio station without asking. Mom adjusted my collar like I was late for picture day. Nate slid into the back seat with his sunglasses and backward cap and drawled, "You're the man, bro," which is what he says when he wants something. At the restaurant, the manager greeted us by name. We sat. Dishes arrived, little polite miracles. I watched Mom's face, waiting for delight. Instead, I got the head tilt. She cut a scallop in half and sighed. "Seth," she said, her voice dripping with faux politeness, "we're too good for your cheap restaurant." I just stared at her. "It's not cheap. It's fine," she insisted. "But we're celebrating a marriage, not clocking out from a cubicle." Dad didn't even look up from the menu. "Double the budget, and maybe we'll come." Nate snorted, reaching for more bread. "Facts." I swallowed, a knot tightening in my stomach. I tried to joke. "So, if I quadruple it, do I get a handshake?" No one laughed. I felt that old, familiar instinct kick in, the one where I fix everything quickly so we can all pretend the moment never happened. But for some reason, I didn't jump. I just sat there, letting the silence press down, until my pulse slowed. Then I said, "You're absolutely right." Mom beamed, smiling like she'd successfully trained me. The manager came back to ask about dessert. Mom smiled at her with the bright, fake kindness she saves for strangers. I watched it happen, the switch between public grace and private extraction. And that little ache that's lived in me since childhood, it stood up. It took a step forward. I didn't argue. I didn't explain budgets or deposits or how long it took to get on that chef's calendar. I just let the night finish. I drove everyone home. Mom patted my cheek in the driveway like I'd finally learned my lesson. When my apartment door closed behind me, the quiet felt heavier than usual. I stacked the tasting notes on my counter, smoothed the corners of the paper. I pictured my mother's face when she'd said, "We're too good." And then I pictured what would happen if, for once, I believed her. Really believed her. And acted like it. I brushed my teeth, set my alarm, and I slept, dreamlessly. The next morning, a different version of me put on coffee and made a call. This hadn't started with restaurants. It started with birthday parties where Nate's cake had sparklers and mine had a candle that wouldn't light. It started with my 8th grade science fair ribbon being cute and Nate's JV benchwarming being commitment. My first job at a grocery store was responsible. Nate's first job at a gym was networking. Same outcomes, totally different stories. They taught me early what my role was. Bill on the table, silence in the room. I was the silence breaker. Printer jammed? I was the fixer. Need someone to read the fine print? I was the eyes. By 22, I'd paid for 2 of Nate's online classes because the school messed up his aid. At 24, I covered a tow truck because his card glitched. At 26, I co-signed a lease, then swallowed late fees like vitamins. Each time came with promises. Friday, bro. Next week for sure. I'll Venmo you tonight. He Venmo'd me a pizza emoji once. It wasn't funny. Mom framed it as family loyalty. We share, she'd say, which always meant I distribute. Dad framed it as respect. A man handles his business, which somehow translated to I handle everyone else's. The math was obvious. The language they used to fog it up? That was the art. By 28, I had savings. Not because I made a lot, but because I didn't go out. I brought lunch from home. I wore my sneakers until the tread was a rumor. When I bought a used car. Outright, Mom said, so practical. Then immediately asked if I could float some cash for Nate's new tires. I said no. She looked at me like I'd insulted her deepest values. When they announced the anniversary plan, it was wrapped in nostalgia and obligation. 35 years isn't nothing, Dad boomed. We want the family together, Mom purred, and that word, want, carried a price tag I knew too well. I said I'd plan it, because I've learned that volunteering early is better than being volunteered later. I set a realistic budget. Ran the numbers. Room fee, food per head, service, tax, tip. I even built columns for contingencies. Left space for the extra surprise. Guest mom always springs at the last minute to make herself look connected. I called the downtown place because it really is lovely. Farmers know the chef by name. The wine list has notes like stone fruit, not braggy. The manager was kind. We went over dates. She warned me weekend spots book months ahead. I put down a deposit to hold a Saturday, $8,600. More than I liked to see leave my account, but still within my spreadsheet. It hurt. It also felt adult. I foolishly thought that doing something big and generous would reset the family story about me. It never does. I know that, but I still try. Then the tasting happened. The scallop, the sigh, the sentence that sits in my mouth like rust. After we left, Mom got chatty in the group text she uses like a megaphone. Everyone, dinner tasting was fine, but we want something more upscale. Then, a string of photos, a ballroom with ice sculptures shaped like swans. This is classy, she wrote. Seth will find something like this. I typed and deleted 3 replies. I stared at the math. The ballroom she posted started at $350 per head before drinks. Overtime charges kicked in if you liked your party past 10 p.m., which my family always does, because they perform most when people are tired and polite. My initial $8,600 deposit would be non-refundable if I canceled less than 14 days out. We were at day 13. I called Mom. We already have a reservation, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. We already paid a deposit. Paid? She said, like the word was a stranger at her door. We haven't even decided. I did, I cut in. And it fits the budget. She laughed. Sweetie, budgets move. The point of an anniversary is to feel like you've arrived. Dad got on speaker. Double the budget and maybe we'll come. Nate chimed in from somewhere. I got fitted for a tux already, so like, don't mess around. I closed my eyes. Can we talk about who is paying? Silence. Then, Mom, it's tacky to nickel and dime family events. What's tacky? I said, my voice dangerously calm. Is acting like the card you're not holding is community property. A beat. Then her voice went soft. which is how she says the worst things. I'm worried about you, Seth. You hold money so tight. It's unhealthy. After that call, texts followed like a drip. Aunt Mia, your mother says you're making everything complicated. Cousin Julia. Asterisk, can I bring my boyfriend? He eats a lot. Haha. Asterisk, grandma's caretaker. Asterisk, your mom asked me to ask you to book a pianist. She said you understand what's tasteful. Asterisk, the next afternoon, mom called with a new plan. Your father found a place. Waterfront. Very Hamptons. We don't live near the Hamptons. You know what I mean. What's the price? I asked, already dreading the answer. Don't be negative. If it's more than triple, I can't. You can, she said, not unkindly. You just won't. Dad texted a thumbs-up emoji. Nate sent a meme of a guy throwing money. Vibes, bro. That night, I looked at my spreadsheet, then at my wall, then at the life I've made that runs on quiet and repetition. I thought about all the other times I'd said sure and paid, then sat there invisible while everyone complimented my mother's taste. I thought about the last Christmas where I bought gifts for 9 people and got a travel mug in return, and Mom told me, "You love coffee." I thought about the year I repaired their roof after a storm and Dad said, "Took you long enough." The pattern isn't subtle. The bait is always the same: love, pride, family. The hook is always the same: money, time, compliance. And underneath all of it is that little sentence Mom says when I hint at a boundary. Don't make this ugly. They make it ugly. I clean it up. I lay in bed, did the math one more time, and felt a strange, steady calm. If I believed her, if I believed we were too good for the place I booked, then the honest thing would be to make sure she never had to lower her standards again. So, I set my alarm for 7:30, put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and slept. I woke before the alarm, made coffee, stared at the steam until it disappeared. Then, I called the restaurant. "Hi," I said when the manager answered. "This is Seth. I booked the 35th anniversary on the 14th. I need to cancel." She was kind, which almost made me feel worse. "I understand. Your deposit is partially refundable, up to 80%, if we fill the date. We usually do. I'll do my best." I thanked her too many times. I hung up. I felt a little lightheaded, like I'd jumped off a low step and my knees hadn't quite caught up. Then I drafted a message. Simple. Not a speech, not a manifesto, just clear. I sent it to the family group at 8:04 a.m. Morning. I canceled the reservation. If you want a different venue, you'll need to book and pay for it yourselves. I'll attend if it's within walking distance of my budget and my boundaries. It pinged a few times, then went quiet. I got ready for work. At 8:19, the first call came. Mom. I watched it ring out. At 8:21, Dad. Then Nate. Then Mom again. Then the group chat bloomed. Mom, what did you do? Dad. This isn't how family behaves. Nate. Bro, we got tuxes. Me. You're adults. You can book a party. Mom. You said you would handle it. Me. I handled it. I removed myself. There was the pause. That little pause where they decide which script to run. Anger, guilt, pity. Guilt 1. Mom. I'm embarrassed. We told people. Me. You'll have to tell them something else. Dad. You're making your mother cry. Me. I'm not making anything. I'm choosing not to pay for it. Dad. Money isn't everything. Me. Then pay for it yourselves. Nate. You're petty. Me. I'm specific. At 9:02 a.m., Mom texted individually. I don't know who you think you are. I typed and deleted. Then I wrote, someone. Who won't fund being insulted? No reply. At 9:30, Aunt Mia called. I answered because she's the only one who sometimes uses her inside voice. Honey, she said, her voice tired. Your mom is hysterical. She'll live. You know how she gets. I do. I think you should just give her this one. She's had 30 years of this one. Silence. You sound different, she said. I am. At noon, Mom showed up at my office. She never does that. She called from the lobby, using the tone she saves for waiters. Come down, please. We sat in 2 chairs near the window. She wore her pearls. She only wears them when she wants to look reasonable in public. Seth, she said, her voice strained, this is beneath you. Setting a boundary. Humiliating us. I canceled something I was paying for. You're punishing us. This isn't about revenge, I said, my voice steady. This is about closure. Her mouth tightened. Closure for what? For a lifetime of you deciding what I owe. She leaned in, her eyes sharp. You are not the victim here. I'm not, I said calmly. I'm the accountant, and the account is closed. She reached for my arm. I pulled back, gently. Mom, I said, you called a place I love cheap after I paid for it. Dad told me to double the budget. Nate mocked me. And then you expected me to accept that and fund your fix. That's not love. That's logistics. You're twisting things. I'm untwisting them. Think about what people will say. They'll say whatever you tell them. They always do. She stared at me, waiting for the old me to show up. The one who caves after 3 seconds of silence. When he didn't, she chose anger. You are cold, she said. You always have been. I've been consistent. She stood. We raised a selfish son. I nodded once. And he's finally okay with you thinking that. She left. I watched her cross the lobby, shoulders square, pearls steady. I felt like someone had knocked a wall out of the apartment in my chest, and light had found the room. That night, I turned my phone face down and made pasta. I ate at my small table and listened to the building settle around me. The quiet wasn't heavy anymore. It was a choice I had made, and would keep making. By morning, I had 27 missed calls, 16 voicemails, and 41 texts. The numbers looked dramatic stacked like that. I made coffee, turned on the kettle just for the sound, and opened the group chat. Dad, we moved the party to the Harbor Club. Mom, kindly send the deposit for them. Nate, they need $12,000 by Friday. So, I laughed. Actually laughed. Alone in my kitchen, like a man reading a good joke and not wanting to explain it. Me, no mom. This is spite. Me, it's a boundary. Mom, family is everything. Me, family is not a credit line, Dad called. I let it ring. He left a voicemail. You think you're better than us? Money rotted you. I saved it and moved on. Around lunch, my phone lit up with a different tone. The restaurant manager. Quick update, she said, her voice warm. We filled your date. I can return 80% of your deposit. Expect $6,880 back within 3 to 5 business days. Relief hit me in a slow wave. Thank you, I said genuinely. After work, I ran by the river, the way I do when my thoughts are loud. The sky looked like it was thinking about rain, then changed its mind. When I got home, I had 2 new emails. First was from the Harbor Club. Per your mother's request, we've attached the contract. I replied, asterisk, I am not the payer. Please remove my email. Asterisk second was from Nate. Asterisk bro, they're freaking out. Just front it. I'll cover bar. Asterisk I responded. What you're offering to cover is the part you will definitely consume. He wrote back. Low blow. I wrote. True blow. Aunt Mia tried again. They won't budge, she said. Could you do half? Or the photographer? Just so it doesn't look like she didn't finish. Didn't finish what? I asked. Like they can't pull it off, she said softly. Maybe they can't. Silence. And maybe that's okay, I added. Maybe the scale should match the wallet instead of the fantasy. Your mother doesn't do scale, she said. I know. The week before their date, Mom started a parallel campaign. Extended family, neighbors, the lady from church who collects casseroles like trophies, all received her version, where I abandoned them days before a sacred milestone. I got screenshots, unsolicited. Asterisk, is this true? Why would you do that to your parents? Asterisk, I didn't reply. Not because I didn't have words, but because every reply becomes a trial, and my family loves a courtroom where they're the judge and jury. On Thursday, Nate called from an unknown number. I picked up. Dude, he said, his voice frantic, this is insane. They booked the Harbor Club, and then Dad had a moment when he saw the final number. He told them to cut bar packages. Mom cried. The planner walked out. Can you just... No, I said. I'm in a bind. You live in a bind. You're enjoying this. I'm not, I said. I'm not enjoying any part of it, but I'm also not fixing it. You've always thought you're better. I've always thought I'm responsible for myself. He sighed. It's one night. It's a pattern. He cursed. Then, softer. They're going to talk about this forever. They talk about everything forever. He hung up. Friday afternoon, Mom sent a photo of silk napkins. We cut costs where we could, she wrote. I didn't respond. Saturday morning, I got a message from the restaurant manager. Asterisk, a couple came in last night for their wedding. We used some of your menu choices. The bride cried happy tears over the mushroom risotto. Asterisk, I smiled so wide it hurt. Money had done something good elsewhere. It wasn't lost. It had just changed its mind. At 5 p.m., I put on a navy shirt and walked to a small place around the corner. Not the downtown spot, a different one, less famous. Perfect Bread. A server who calls everyone Han, without a trace of performance. I sat at the bar and ordered the special and watched a soccer match with two strangers who argued gently about nothing. It felt like a celebration of something I couldn't quite name. During dessert, my phone buzzed. Aunt Mia. I answered. Well, she asked, tired. How is it? Smaller, she said. They moved it to the church hall at the last minute. Potluck vibes. Your mom told everyone it was intimate by design. Your dad is quiet. I'm sorry, I said and meant it. You could still stop by, she offered. I sent a card. I wrote what I needed to say. You're really done with them, aren't you? No, I said. I'm done with this version of them. She exhaled. I understand, she said. And I believed her. Sunday arrived with a hangover of texts. Mom, a photo of the two of them in front of a gold paper backdrop with creases. It was lovely, she wrote. We made it work without you. Me. I'm glad. 10 minutes later, people missed you. Me. They can book time. No reply. Over the next week, the volume dropped like a storm that ran out of things to break. I still got the occasional grenade. Hope you're proud of yourself from Dad. We had to serve Costco cake from Mom. I Venmo'd you $22 for paper plates from Nate, which was either sarcasm or a bad joke. Hard to tell. I didn't respond. Instead, I let my life fill the space. I got up early and learned to make the good omelet. I watered a plant and did not kill it. I said yes to a trivia night and made 2 new friends who didn't ask me to prove I belonged. I went back to the downtown restaurant for a normal Tuesday dinner. Sat alone with a book and told the server, thank you. Like I used to say, sorry for existing in a place this nice. I tipped well, because kindness should land somewhere. A month later, Mom texted, Sunday dinner 5:00 p.m. No question mark. Me. I won't be there. Mom. We're trying. Me. Try by acknowledging what happened. Mom. You canceled our party. Me. You called me cheap and demanded more after I paid. 3 dots. Then nothing. 2 weeks after that, Dad called. I want to understand, he said rough. Okay, I said. Do you hate us? I don't. He waited. You're punishing us. I'm protecting myself. He scoffed. Same thing. It isn't. Silence. I don't know how to do this, he said, finally. Say thank you sometimes, I said. Say we were wrong. Say we'll pay for our wants. Start there. He cleared his throat. Your mother won't like that. I know. I'll think about it. That's a start. After we hung up, I stood by the window, watching the streetlights click on in a row. A couple argued below, then laughed, then walked away, touching elbows. The pastry shop closed. The baker waved at me because he always does, whether I wave first or not. That night, I slept the way I used to dream about sleeping, without rehearsing conversations, without spreadsheets pressed against my chest, without the itch of being useful as the price of being loved. People assume the moral is dramatic. Cut them off. Disappear. Torch the bridge. That's not it. The bridge stays. It's just got a toll now. And the toll is simple. Respect. I didn't cancel their party to teach them a lesson. I canceled it because I paid for contempt and then was asked to pay again. I won't do that anymore. Money doesn't equal love, but money will absolutely reveal the shape of love. Mine looked like a ledger with everyone's names on my side. Here's what changed and what didn't. My mother still thinks the world should bend to her taste. She texts photos of centerpieces like a hobby. She also, twice now, has asked, is this in your budget? Before assuming I'm on deck. The second time, she added, we can scale, like the words tasted strange in her mouth. Progress in inches. My father still takes pride in being unbothered until bothered. But last week, after a dentist appointment, he called and said, thanks for driving me. And then, almost strangled, I appreciate you. I said, you're welcome. And we both pretended our throats didn't hurt. My brother is still a storm with a phone. He still thinks Friday is a day, not a promise. He also has stopped asking me to co-sign anything. He sends memes instead. Sometimes they're even funny. And me? I eat at places my mother would call fine, and I call good. I invite friends, and we split checks, and no one performs gratitude as a weapon. I carry cash to tip the barista who knows my name and doesn't use it to own me. I keep a line in my budget labeled no. just to remind myself it's a thing you can afford. If you want the short version, it's this. I used to think peace meant keeping everyone else comfortable. Now I know peace is the room you make by not paying for your own erasure. I don't owe anyone an apology for refusing to fund my humiliation. I owe myself consistency. So when someone calls a gift cheap and asks me to double it, I say, "You're absolutely right." And then I let them find out what the ride actually costs when I don't subsidize it. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. I said it once in a lobby, with my mother looking at me like I'd broken something valuable. I will keep saying it to myself, if to no one else. I won't stop showing up. I will just arrive as a person, not a wallet with legs. I won't punish. I will price. I won't chase. I will choose. And I won't let them teach me again that love is measured by what I'm willing to lose. I'm done lowering my standards to meet their entitlement. If that means fewer invitations with gold foil and more Tuesday dinners at the bar where the bread is warm and the server says, "Han," I can live with that. Actually, I can live because of it. So, tell me, have you ever had to draw a line in the sand with your own family? What finally made you say, "Enough is enough"? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below.